In this video, we are going to review supplemental resources and readings. So if you're preparing a course and you'd like to add resources to your course, for example, readings, examples, anything like that, please make sure that all of the resources that you're providing are indeed open source and free. You need to make sure that these resources do not have copyright issues so that we can use them on our platform. Make sure that you specify exactly where you want your resources located. So for example, if you have 5 modules in your course and you have one open source textbook that you would like to use, you're more than welcome to, but you have to specify exactly where you want the readings to go. So for example, I put here, readings for Module 1. So for Module 1.0, it's going to be for example, a link to a resource and then the page numbers that you would like assigned to 1.0. For 1.1, let's say you would like to add an open source video, you would have to give us that link and assign it to 1.1. For 1.2, let's say it's a link to an open source textbook and the page numbers that you would like. You don't have to add resources to each module. So for example, in 1.21, there's nothing that goes there. And then in 1.2.2, you have a link to an open source video. Now, once you assign these resources in a clear way, we will be able to distribute them to their modules. So if you're filming for modern states, there are some steps that you must take. The first is to choose a textbook that the students can reference, which again is open source and free. And we will take the PDF version and upload it to the course. We recommend using OpenStax, Wikibooks, and Creative Commons to find a textbook for your course. The second step, after you have chosen a textbook, is to assign readings to your lectures. So we suggest that, as I mentioned before, writing in a Word document what pages of the textbooks correspond to what lecture, or what chapters correspond to what lecture. So for example, you can see here, reading for Module 1. 1.0, there are no pages. 1.1, pages 4 through 17. Pages 1.2, pages 9 through 34, and so on, so that it's easy for us to see the textbook that you have chosen and exactly which pages we have to put into which modules for the learner to read as they're going through the course. So once you assign these readings, we'll distribute them to the modules and create separated PDF files for each of your assigned sections. There is no need to do anything further than assign these readings. So in terms of questions, which is another resource, if you're filming for modern states, there are going to be 2 parts. There's the CLEP official questions, and then there are your own questions. So the first thing that we need is we need a minimum of 90 practice questions. So we suggest taking all of the questions from your subject's official CLEP exam guide and all of the questions from your subject's at a glance document. Both of these can be found online at the CLEP official website. And when you find your course on that website, on the right side below your subject resource guide and free samples, you will find both the CLEP exam guide and the at a glance exam guide. So the next thing that we need you to do is create a minimum of 20 original questions, and you have to make sure that the original questions are in the same format as the CLEP official questions. Basically what that means is that they are multiple choice, and there's 4 possible answers and only 1 correct answer. And it's important that you make sure to send us the correct answers to all of your questions. We have the correct answers to the CLEP exam guide and the at a glance document, but you will need to provide us with the correct answers to your original questions. The easiest way to do this is to highlight each correct answer per question that you have, in a Word document preferably. Lastly, every single question that you have, so including the CLEP exam guide, the at a glance document, and your selected personal questions that you have created, must be matched to a module. So for example, if you have 7 questions in an at a glance document, you will have to tell us which module can answer each of the questions. So the questions will be uploaded in 2 places. At the end of your course, there's a large practice exam that the student has to take, and all of the courses from the CLEP exam guide, the at-a-glance document, and your personal questions will be there. In addition, however, all of the questions will be uploaded to their corresponding units and modules. So that's why it's necessary that you send us where exactly all of your questions correspond to and where exactly all of the questions from the official CLEP exam guide and the at-a-glance document correspond to. That way we can distribute them as small quizzes throughout the course. So here you can see what the practice final exam looks like, which includes all of the questions. So you see here questions 1 through 15, 16 through 30, all the way down to 127. So it's basically a practice test for students before they take the official CLEP exam. Here you can see one of the modules. So for example, this is module 3 and it's called Living. And in this, you'll be able to see here, it says check for understanding. That is the small quiz that I was referring to, where we're going to take all of the quizzes that correspond to module 3 and put them there so that the student can go through and take a small quiz before moving on to module 4.